So it's been a while since I've done one of these. On my last short, I took the flame arrestor out of my Trail 125 and decided to chop it up, hoping to get a better sound out of the bike. And unfortunately, as I mentioned in that short, that I chopped it too. Well, I didn't just cut too close to the weld. I cut on the weld. And unfortunately, the end piece came off. And so now I've got this nice plate with the end cap, but there's no pipe. Anyways, watch the short. You'll see what I'm talking about. But it's really funny, and I don't know if this has been the price forever or if this is, just a problem with inflation. But I thought to myself, I was like, maybe I should replace that part and do it again and do it right. And I thought, there's no way that this part would cost more than $80. That flame arrestor. If you watch the video, it's just, it's a short tube like that long, kind of bent. It has a nice end plate on it, but it's not meant to be looked at. It's a hidden part. It's ugly. It gets dirty. It's in the exhaust, and I was floored when I looked at the price last night. $233 on Revzilla. Now, is it cheaper somewhere else? Maybe. I don't know. I went on eBay and looked around, couldn't find anything. I did find an actual exhaust system for about $150 more, and I kind of thought to myself, I was like, maybe I should just buy that. The end cap, the way it sounds right now isn't bad. It is loud though. It's really, really loud, and that's why I was hoping to keep that little pipe. I think that would have just muffled it just a little bit more and just kept the sound a little more tame. But now it's got this gnarly uh, popping on the D cell, which is really funny coming out of a trail 125. Just um, is it good for it? Probably not. But whatever. I'll do something about it later. Maybe I'll find a wrecked one. See if hopefully someone throws an exhaust on there on eBay for cheap, and I can pick that up and just yank the part out. Or I'll just pony up and buy an actual exhaust system for the bike. But they're so dang expensive. Everything's expensive now, though. I was just looking at some other accessories. And granted, I don't plan to stick with the 125. I mean, I'm going to keep the 125 forever, but it's not my end all be all bike. Like, I'm currently in the hunt for another bike right now, a bigger bike. Um, as much as I like small bikes, I've talked about that before. I really do enjoy smaller bikes. They're stupid fun. The issue you run into is that uh, unless you live in like a big city, you're trapped. Like this bike here, 43 miles an hour with me on it, and I'm not a small guy. I'm not a small guy. I'm not. I'm just gonna admit that right off the bat. I'm a pretty big guy. Yeah, 43 miles an hour max with this thing. I can go a little bit faster on a downhill, but as soon as I hit flat land, 43 max. I might be able to eke out a couple more miles an hour if I just pin it and tuck, but I'm not going to do that. There's no point. And unfortunately, where I live out in West Texas, it's all highways. To go anywhere else, I got to go on an interstate or a highway. And these highways, being that I live in West Texas, it's the middle of the oil field. So, for anyone who knows, it's absolute chaos out here. Just chaos and madness. And, you got big trucks everywhere. There's wrecks every day, like all over the place. And I know that is the way everywhere else, but these are just small interspersed cities. They aren't like metropolitan cities altogether. So, and it's lots of big trucks, just 18 wheelers, vac trucks, heavy equipment, just constantly ripping on these roads out here. So there's no way that this 125 is going to go anywhere besides staying here in town on the local roads. So I'm kind of stuck when it comes to my riding. I have fun tooling around town, but my town's not very big, and there's some things I'm looking to do. I've been looking. I'm kind of in two camps right now. I'm looking at ADV bikes, adventure bikes, because they're They're good bikes. They're cool. But I'm looking at a cruiser right now. There's there's a bike I can pick up, and it's really cheap, but I'd have to fix it to get it going, which wouldn't be terribly hard. Like I know what's wrong with it. It's a little bit older, but it'd be straightforward work. Otherwise, the bike looks really good shape. But uh, but at the same time, I'm kind of drawn towards the ADV bike because the other bike, the one I have to fix up, is a cruiser. It's a cruiser bike. It's actually a VTX. Um, and VTX are cool. You don't see them. I know there's a bunch sold, but man, I rarely ever see them anymore. And I know for a long time this area sold massive amounts of them. But I kind of like the idea of being able to go on an adventure bike and actually like going off road in some different places. Going like Colorado and New Mexico and hitting some of the public lands. But then I have to stop and think to myself, like, how often would you really do that? Or would you just end up on the road going somewhere, checking it out, and then coming back? Like, how often would you really, really utilize that ADV bike? Because where I live, one, I'm in Texas, especially West Texas, there's no open land. It's all privately owned. And so you don't have that opportunity. Now I can tool off for a couple hours and get to some stuff in New Mexico, but again I gotta get there before I even get there to do anything, which that has its pros and cons. But with like a cruiser, like a VTX or some other bike or a more street oriented like adventure or a sport touring bike or something like that, yeah, I can go wherever, and I mean you can do that on an ADV bike too. It's just I kind of feel that the adventure, the off road side of buying one would get squandered. Just I wouldn't utilize that aspect of the bike enough to matter. Whereas if I bought a cruiser or like a sport tour, I'm still going to be doing the same thing. I'm still going to be going somewhere to get somewhere. But now I have a bike that's more capable for that specific aspect. And once I'm somewhere, I mean, a bike, you can always take a bike down a dirt road. You just got to be soft, you know. I mean, heck, the first dirt bikes were street bikes, Bonnevilles and stuff, and Triumphs that were just had some knobbies thrown on them. Uh, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Again, I can get a cheap cruiser right now, um, and I have to get work on it, get it running, or I could go get several different ADV bike options, new, used, but I'm going to pay a lot more money. So the question is, which route do I want to go? And being the bigger guy that I am, I'm leaning towards the like that VTX, unless something else pops up soon. But that's really the bike I'm leaning towards. I just got to figure out how to get it. I don't have a trailer, and so that poses a major hurdle right now. Luckily, it's in town here, and I actually had the stupid thought of like, well, I'll just go push it home across town. It'd only be about 2 miles, but I'd have to cross like a major street. I'd have to like cross it at a light and push it across the street. So I'm trying to figure that one out right now. But ultimately, like I'm pretty sold on the bike just from what I've seen of it. The price is for what it is. Price is pretty good, but more to come on that. We'll see. But man, everything's expensive. There's all these fuel problems now, and that still is fun on the 125. And I can go get my kicks in, riding around in the evenings for literally nothing, for pennies. And I buy the ethanol free fuel, so that's almost diesel priced, and it takes a gallon most of the time. So it's a good time. It's a good time. And an interesting thing too I've noticed, and I was talking to my wife about this, is I built this motorcycle bench that you've seen several times with the scooter the elite and other things. You know, it's been great to have. I know I talked about it in a couple other videos I did earlier. But I was telling my wife just the other day, I was like, it's been one of the best things I've ever done for myself was to build that. Because, usually in the evenings I get home and I just kind of veg out, sit in front of a computer, whatever. This thing is actually giving me like purpose. Like, hey, I have a workbench. Oh, look, I can put a bike on it. Oh, look, I can work on it when time allows. That stupid scooter I had on here forever. Unfortunately, just life got in the way for a little bit and it had to sit. But you know what? It had a place to sit, which was kind of nice. It wasn't scattered all over the garage. It was like contained. But just having the bench has like changed my attitude about the garage. It's I don't know. It's weird. It's like if you give something a place to occur, it can occur there. It's like a gaming desk. You have a games, your computer set up or whatever. When you have that set up, you tend to spend time there and do that thing. Or it's just like someone with an art studio. I used to do a lot of art, and I used to have an art studio at a previous house. I did a lot more art when I had a space dedicated for it. It's just like sleeping. You studies show that when you have a dedicated place to sleep, and you respect that, like your bedroom, you keep it for very minimal. They say don't have a TV and stuff in your bedroom. Don't make it a place to watch TV. They say keep it as a place that you go to bed and a couple other activities, and it is better for you. Same thing with this bench is not only do I have a garage, which is a huge blessing, but I built a place where I could actually work on stuff. And that seems to have made all this difference. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my ADHD brain or what, but just building this thing and having that place designated has like made it happen, which is just been great. Kind of kicking myself. I should have done this like years ago, but just never did. Anyways, just a couple things I want to just kind of yak about. Motorcycling is fun. Glad I'm getting back into it. Of course, yeah, I'm looking for a bigger bike because I want to go bigger places and go do bigger things and see stuff. And who knows, maybe I'll start a moto vlog. I did actually order a Insta 360, so we'll see. But yeah, get out there. And even if you don't really ride, if you're going through some stuff, turn some wrenches. You might be surprised what it can do for you. I find it very therapeutic most days, just to get in here and turn a few wrenches, even on small little things that take 10, 15 minutes. I have found it to be just very beneficial, especially after having a rough day. So, anyways, hope all is well with you. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.